All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are digging into what is, no joke, one of the biggest stories in tech and finance for 2026, Amazon's massive, high-stakes bet on the future.
So let's just dive right in with a puzzle. In 2025, Amazon, this global titan worth over $2 trillion, kind of hit a wall. It lagged the market, and that left a lot of investors scratching their heads, asking a really simple question. What's next?
And I mean, you really got to look at the numbers to see what we're talking about. While the broader S&P 500 index rallied about 16%, Amazon's stock barely budged. It gained just 4%. And that gap, right there, that's the whole reason we're here. It's what basically forced Amazon's hand to make its next big move.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll look at why Amazon is at this crossroads, then dive into the three new engines of its growth. We'll put a number on its massive AI bet, talk about the big risks, we're talking giants and governments, check out what's next on the horizon, and then finally, we'll get to the investor's verdict.
So, that brings us right to our first big question. Why is a company this huge at such a make-or-break moment?
Now this is really interesting. When you look at Amazon's revenue, you see that giant 74% chunk from retail. That's what we all think of, right? But here's the twist. It's not where the real money is being made anymore. The company's actual economic engine has totally shifted to those two smaller slices, AWS and advertising.
Okay, so let's see how that shift plays into their grand plan. Because the story today isn't just about selling you stuff online anymore. No, it's about three incredibly powerful engines that are driving this whole machine forward.
First up, you've got Amazon Web Services, AWS. I mean, this thing is a cloud computing behemoth. It is the company's primary profit engine. And just to give you a sense of scale, it pulled in a wild $33 billion in a single quarter last year. Engine number two is one that kind of snuck up on everybody, advertising. This has become Amazon's fastest growing business. We're talking over $60 billion a year just by using its massive e-commerce site and Prime Video. It's a powerhouse.
And then there's the third engine, AI, artificial intelligence. This isn't just another product for them. Think of it as the foundation for everything else. It's the tech they believe is going to supercharge AWS, make their ads way smarter, and make their retail operations ridiculously efficient. This is the big one. This is the bet they're staking their entire future on.
Which brings us right to the heart of it all. A truly historic, mind-boggling investment that's all about making sure they dominate the age of AI.
Get this, the company is spending an absolutely incredible $125 billion in a single year, and they're planning to spend even more in 2026. Almost every single penny of that is going straight into building out data centers and infrastructure for AI and the cloud.
And this chart, it really shows you what an all-out arms race this is. Yeah, Amazon is spending a fortune, but they are not alone, not by a long shot. Their biggest rivals, Microsoft and Alphabet, are right there in the ring with them, pouring billions into the exact same fight.
And a really critical part of their strategy isn't just buying chips from somebody else. It's building their own. They're developing their own custom silicon, these Trainium AI chips. And the goal here is super simple. Make chips that are faster and use less energy, so they can slash the cost for their customers and make AWS the cheapest and best place to run AI, period.
But, of course, when you make a bet this big, you're going to have some powerful opponents. And for Amazon, that means facing down two huge challenges: other tech giants and the US government itself.
All right, first let's talk about the competition. Now, AWS is still the king of the cloud, no doubt, with 31% of the market. But look closer. Its rivals are catching up, and fast. Both Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud are growing their cloud businesses at a faster clip than AWS is right now.
And that's the real key here. It's not just about who has the biggest slice of the pie today. It's all about momentum. If that trend of slower growth keeps up, that dominant position AWS has had for so long, it could be in serious jeopardy.
The other big adversary? The US government. The Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, has hit them with a massive antitrust lawsuit. And you can see from this quote, they are not messing around. The agency is flat out accusing Amazon of being an illegal monopoly. That's a charge that threatens the very way the company is structured.
Okay, so beyond these huge battles in AI and the cloud, Amazon is also playing the long game. They're nurturing some other really ambitious projects. You could call them wildcards that could become the next big thing for the company. And there are two big wildcards you really need to keep an eye on. First is Project Kuiper.
That's their plan to beam satellite internet all over the globe, starting in early 2026. And the second is their big push into healthcare, where they're using their One Medical clinics to start rolling out drug dispensing kiosks. Two totally different fields, but both are huge.
All right, so we've looked at the strategy, the mind-blowing investment, and the major risks. So what does this all mean if you're an investor looking at 2026? Well, the reality is, the outlook is split right down the middle between two totally different futures.
And you can see the two sides of the coin right here. On one hand, you've got the bull case. This is the belief that the massive AI investment pays off big time, reigniting AWS growth to over 35% and sending the stock soaring towards $380. But then there's the bear case. The fear here is that all this spending is just too much, too late, that competitors keep chipping away at their market share, and the stock could fall all the way down to test that $200 level.
So when you really cut through all the noise, the new projects, the lawsuits, all the chatter, Amazon's entire story this year boils down to one single critical question.
It's this: will the bet pay off? Can this historic $125 billion+ investment actually do what it's supposed to do? Can it restart the growth engine of Amazon's most important business?
And that right there is your key takeaway. If you want to know if Amazon's massive bet is winning in 2026, you only need to watch one number: AWS's quarterly revenue growth. If you see that number start to climb back up past 30%, that's your signal. That's the sign that Amazon's high-stakes gamble is actually paying off.